Is this going to be a regular deal?
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, so no more singing, huh?
You're right.
Okay, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for so many blessings you bestowed upon us, and we thank you for the rain we've had, and the weather, and we thank you for travel mercies that you extended us over the past month or so, and we just ask you to watch over our courthouse family, and we lift up the family of Officer Stout, and we just ask you now to make his health a situation that can be improved on, and intervene in that regard, Heavenly Father, and answer those questions that me and his family are asking. We ask for his return to complete good health, and we trust you in that regard. We thank you for this meeting today, the privilege we have coming together and doing the business without any outside intervention and just controlling our own lives as best we can. We can't do it without you, Heavenly Father, so we just lift that up, let you know how important you are in our lives. Guide and direct us. Forgive us where we fail you, and help us to do the things that need to be done. And most importantly, help us to understand the true meaning of forgiveness and fellowship and brotherly love. And all this we ask in your most precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bob. Joe, join me in pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas pledge.
I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Take your seats, please. We show a presentation for a 15-year service award. That's what we put off for next week, so me and Holly's mother can attend that. Okay, I want to cover a little bit of business. We had an interesting discussion Friday during the bills, and last week in the meeting, I've always allowed these meetings to be very open, easy flow, but there was a lot of loss in communication during part of that. And to keep that from happening, as the presiding officer of the court, and kind of at the direction of the court after our discussions, was saying, what can we do so that people hear everything and we are sure we walk out of there with the same, close to the same information. Now everybody processes it the same way. So over the weekend, I drafted the rules that we're going to try to operate by. Each of you has a copy out there. It's not meant to inhibit communications, but it's meant to make them more clear and us to do that. So what we ask you to do is not to sit out there and talk among yourselves and to come up to the podium. But when we were discussing this, we started with the problems on this side of the bench first. And we're all just bad about jumping in and doing that, and so we're going to try to set the example, maintain that order and decorum so that we do have everyone's able to hear each person speaking. None of this is meant to limit people from speaking. Department heads and elected officials, when you're trying to explain something, we're not looking at that 5-minute rule in your case. Now, when the public comes up, we're trying to do that because there will be times there might be 20 or 30 people. Often, a lot of times when people come to speak, you've got pro and against, and a lot of them say the same thing. So very often the presiding officer will say, okay, let's not repeat everything someone else has always said, and that's what we're going to try to do. That doesn't come up very often, and we just wanted to set this kind to make it look, and I'm going to give Commissioner Beecham credit for saying, hey, we need to do something about this. And so that's the effort. So when someone speaks, we ask you to come forward to the podium and to speak from there. And if anyone else wants to speak, then let me know. We'll do it. When we get down to the motion part of it, once the motion is made on something, we will allow all discussion by then, and we'll take the motion and then vote on it. Anyone have any questions about what we're trying to do? Okay, let's see how it works. It's, you know, all things we do are working documents, and so let's try that. Thank you. First item is the consent agenda. Are there any items to be asked about for clarity or to be pulled down?
Just one note, Judge, on the Precinct 3 greater addition of revenue.
Yes, sir.
I also have one, Willie, and I don't know what the thought is on that. I didn't know whether I needed to make mention of that, but we sold that grader for far more than we expected. And I just didn't know whether or not that needed to be recognized.
I think, Commissioner, one thing on this one, Willie and I made the decision early on to buy that grader outright rather than execute the lease, and I think that's what this is about, is it not, Willie? It is. That's what the deal was, and rather than entering in the lease like we've done in the past, that's what that notation is about. It's an offsetting financial income.
Okay.
What that is.
Commissioner Watts, what you might do is talk to the auditor. That's not probably a material amount, even though you did get more money, but comparatively, it's not a material amount.
Okay.
And whether she will put that, it will go into, since it wasn't anticipated revenue, if you needed it in this year's budget, then you're going to have to ask her to make that transfer, I think. Anything
Otherwise,
else?
that goes into the general fund? Is that?
No, sir, no, it would go to the precinct balance, fund balance. Okay. Is there a motion then to approve the consent?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Muller to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, item number 1 under general business, review and approve the regular bills for payment. Commissioner Harvey, you were looking into 2 bills we talked about, the one on the distributor and the chainsaw, but I don't know if you were looking at anything other than you weren't happy about the chainsaw bill.
Well, it aggravated me. We spent $120 on a $150 chainsaw. We could have had a brand new chainsaw for another $30. On the distributor, Judge, they're just, the $15,000 they said was an estimate. And when I said, well, if you were gonna go over the estimate, you were required to contact us. Oh, I didn't catch that part. So, what do you do?
Well, I think what, you know, did their documentation say that? If they give you an estimate, there should be something at the bottom of it explains, you know, what their variable could be before they.
They had an estimate to repair, distributor estimated cost $15,000.
Then whoever's dealing with them should have said something, you know, on there that says anything.
They did about a month into it. Sam came back and said, you know, they're already up to 18,000 and they're still fixing. And we talked about it. Well, we got to have it fixed, but we had no clue it was going to wind up being $29,000. Almost double what they estimated.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for looking into that. Okay. Can I get a motion? Anything else on the?
We reviewed all the invoices on Friday, Judge, and I'd make a motion that we approve the regular bills for payment.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Muller, second by Commissioner Watts to approve the regular bills. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 2 is discuss, consider, take action, continue funding the public health district the remainder of their fiscal year by amount no longer needed to support the Tobacco Prevention and Control Coalition program. Ms. Crider.
Judge, Commissioner, good morning. We had, several years ago, we came before y'all and had asked for match funding for our tobacco Control Coalition grant. That grant's ending in August of this year, but through the middle of this year, they came back and said that they were going to discontinue the match requirement, and so we won't be utilizing the remainder of that funding. Because of the cuts that we received this year, some of the cuts that we've had to make in our vector program, especially specifically out to the areas of the county, we thought, since that money had already been allocated to the health department, that we could move that from the matching requirements into the amount that y'all normally fund for us for those programs. So the money that was cut went to the vector program and went to the public health nurse. With that nurse, we're able to come into the jail and do our sexually transmitted infection clinic here so that the jailers don't have to transmit those clients to the health department. And we also use that for other county expenses, so mileage, travel for our health inspectors that go out and do inspections out in the county.
Lou, will you explain what the vector program is, our mosquito spraying deal?
That's the mosquito control program. So we go out into the county. The most expensive, least effective method of vector control and mosquito control is spraying. So we try to go out into the county and use a larvicide, whereby we'll larvicide the ditches that have the standing water. The West Nile, the mosquito that causes the West Nile virus likes to grow in nasty water. And so there's, out in the county where you have the water that's standing in the ditches, some of the other reservoir areas, you tend to have more mosquitoes. The issue that we've actually had an increase in our budget last year. The mosquito that causes the Zika virus, which y'all all know from the news, is very concerning because of the birth defects associated with pregnant mothers and babies and the microcephaly that's associated with that. We've had local transmission cases in South Texas, and so we have a very fluid society these days. People move back and forth from our area to Mexico. They travel. We had a call on Friday from a young lady who had visited Belize and came back and found out she's pregnant, and now she's concerned about that. And so there's the chemical that treats that. We have to treat in a different way. We have to trap in a different way for that mosquito. So the money we could really use to put into our vector control and mosquito control program. Otherwise, we made the decision to make cuts out in the county this year because of the decrease in funding.
The amount of that decrease, was that the $15,983, cut 10% off of your budget? That's what I'm thinking of.
The difference that we received of this and what we received in 2018 was actually $18,512. What's left in the grant reduction is $15,983. So that's the remainder of the match amount that's left.
Okay, so you would still actually come up about 2,800 less than.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay. So the motion you would like, if the court approved this, would be to approve is taking the $15,983 balance in the tobacco grant and transferring that to pay you as part for the vector control program.
Well, and for the nursing program as well.
Okay.
Right.
I would make that motion.
Second that motion.
Question. Is this the last year of that tobacco deal?
It is.
So it goes away after this?
Right,
This finishes it
that
up?
grant ends in August 31st. We have not, and they discontinued the match. That's the reason that we have this additional funding. They discontinued the match because of some issues that they were having at the state level. There's not a renewal grant for this. We have looked for additional funding, but have not found anything to continue that program. We do have some sustainability in the program. We have one employee that has worked in the program but has not been paid out of those grant funds. That will be continuing so that we can continue some work with our youth with the cessation classes that will still be offered free to the public. So we do have some sustainability that we've built in, even though we won't have grant funds. We do have 2 employees that will either have to lay off or hopefully we'll be able to find other positions within the city for them. Did that answer your question, Commissioner?
Yes.
Okay. Then the motion, Commissioner Beecham, that you would be making and seconded by Commissioner Harvey, would approve transferring the tobacco grant balance of up to $15,983 to the allowance for nursing and vector services.
That's correct.
Okay. Any comments from the audience? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, item number 3 is discuss, consider, or take action to approve a salary increase from $27,463 to $30,000 for the chief scanner position in the criminal district attorney's office. These funds to come from the criminal district attorney's special asset forfeiture fund. Ma'am?
Morning.
Good morning.
I have 3 scanners now, as y'all know, and the chief scanner has been there since we created the position. And I feel a need to have her at a higher level because she trains the incoming new scanner positions. I'm afraid if I don't increase her salary with the asset forfeiture money, that I may lose her to a different position, and we'll be at square one. So that's why I'm trying to make the distinction.
The asset forfeiture money, was it a one-time deal or would it be laid back on the regular budget next year?
That's one of the things we discussed when I met with Judge Gossam and Commissioner Beecham about maybe even in the budget for next year, increasing that position rather than using asset forfeiture money, because as you all know, that could go away every 2 years whenever the legislature meets. So I would ask this through the end of the year and then maybe take that position up during budget discussions.
If you done, and she could, the problem we want with the change in office holders, that could be put in for next year, but then it would be up to the new criminal district attorney to allocate that, to do that or not, and then it would fall back to general fund, and we can discuss that then. But I think in your proposed budget, we can take that in for next year, but.
We didn't, and so I'll probably end up amending that
Okay.
again before we get into the official budget discussion.
All right. And we might discuss if that other nominal pay increase we talked about across the board, that might be what you look at in doing that, because we're going to have to come up with that before.
Right, or if I could pull that $1,000 from another position, I think I could probably do that if y'all approve and put it to her position.
And
her up higher.
That's what that allows if I am doing. I think that would be one way to assure that then.
It does not affect the 2018 budget. I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, don't get ahead of me. Any other comments, discussions? Okay, now we have a motion by Commissioner Muller, second by Commissioner Beecham to approve. Thank you, Ms. Shelton.
I think I'm on the next one too.
Oh, okay. I was trying to get you some more pictures.
I'd like to go sit down, but.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 4 is discuss, consider, take action to approve a temporary intern position for up to and not to exceed 35 hours per week with the hourly wage of $10 per hour in the criminal district attorney's office, with funds to come from the criminal district attorney's special asset forfeiture fund. The only question I had on this, and you do the intern positions every year, I think.
That's correct.
Are we in any problem going over 29 hours on this?
No, sir, it's deemed seasonal.
Okay.
And so you can go over the 29 hours without giving benefits. And I confirmed that, I want to say a few years ago, with the person that we had doing our
Oh, Penny Miller.
Penny Miller, yes, and she confirmed that.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. The only thing you run into is if they take the whole part-time employees and look at that, then we,
Correct.
yeah. But I think the seasonal thing may keep them out of that play.
That's what I was informed. And when I did some research, I didn't find anything to the contrary. So I think I'm comfortable with telling you that this person will be a seasonal employee, and even though it's over 29 hours because of the temporary nature, the benefits wouldn't attach.
Okay.
Judge, this has been an effective and popular program in the district attorney's office. Once again, it does not affect 2019 budget. I'd make a motion to approve.
Okay, you need to hang on a minute. We need to ask if anybody in the audience has. Remember, that's what we can Okay. I appreciate your efficiency, but it's contrary to the plan. Okay. Any questions of Ms. Shelton or for the court? Anyone? Okay. Ma'am, Commissioner
I
Waller.
always thought the Roberts Rule of Order called for discussion after the motion.
I don't like that.
Then we'll do it your way.
Well, no, and just answer that. You make a motion, discussion changes, then you've got to undo the motion because you've got the facts, honey. I've never understood where Robert had that idea.
But I think that is in there. That's what.
I know it's in there, and I don't like it, so I just always avoided it.
You're the chief. That's why we'll do it. Sorry, Judge.
With good reason.
Yeah, sorry,
Now,
Judge.
sir, would you make your motion?
I would.
No, it's second.
If he ever makes it. Okay. Okay.
And I have an additional question. On those other interns, they're paid too when they get to come work the summer?
Typically, if they're getting credit for it through, it's usually Midwestern students, if they get credit for it, then they don't get paid. And I currently have one that's doing that, and then he's available this summer, but not for credit, so I'd like to pay him. And it's worked out pretty well, because sometimes we have repeat interns that come the next year, you don't have to train them. And then I'll also be coming before you with law clerks that come in for the summer. They're also seasonal employees while they're on break from law school. Do that, hoping that they'll come back and like Wichita County and work as an attorney.
You have hired some.
I have, absolutely.
That's why that's been such an effective program.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's a good way to find them.
Yeah.
And with the funding with the asset forfeiture money, it's a temporary thing, and I think it works very well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion by Commissioner Waller, second by Commissioner Beecham to approve the item as stated. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 5, discuss, consider, take action to approve having Cirrus Computer Solutions install, configure, and provide training on 2 Cisco FTD 2110 and 1 FMC 1000 appliance to the amount of $37,080 to be paid from 100.412.4010 computer consulting services to the line determined by the county auditor with transfers as necessary from 10412.4902 or 10412.3151 to cover any deficit. Mr. Crutchfield.
Yes, sir. This is a need to get some Cisco engineers in here to help configure our new firewall and threat defense. That's what this is. If y'all kept up with the news, local government agencies are facing serious threats from outside, and some of them have had to pay big money to get their data back. This will go a long way toward protecting us from having that. No defense is perfect, but our old firewall is reaching end of life, and the new firewalls are very, very different in how they're set up. And they would be on site and provide that solution for us, transfer our settings from our current firewall to the new firewall, and provide training to us as well on how to manage it and keep it running.
Now, George, is this the part of the guy that Judge and I met with in your office?
It's the same company. Yes, sir.
Okay.
They're Sirius is one of the largest Cisco partners in the nation.
Is this a budgeted item?
It was. Then when the budget came out, there were some other items that were left unfunded, so I had to take money from contingencies to fund those lines, and therefore I'm moving money from other lines to fund this. Unless I didn't want
Can I ask
that
a question?
Yes, sir.
When we don't fund the line item, I think that means that we don't intend to spend the money on that.
I can have the internet turned off, and then we won't have to do this either.
So that's wholly unfunded was the internet?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that'd be our mistake, not yours,
Okay.
right?
Well, There had to be, I assumed that we wanted internet.
I'm assuming we did.
And so that's one of the reasons that I'm moving money around to pay for this.
Part of this was some of the information transferred from the last hearing on that to this, didn't get moved over, and so there were some things left unfunded that we're correcting with this, but I sit in on both of these meetings. It's gonna mean a change in the way we do business, but we have got to upgrade our sense of individual use security and protocol, as well as looking at hardware and software changes that make us less vulnerable.
And just try to make everyone more aware of security and that the threat is real. You know, coming from a military background, that's beat into you, but it's not necessarily so here, but as a government agency, the threats against us are real, and they're very good at what they do.
So Judge Gossam, the next time that we find ourselves where we have made a mistake in not funding something that we absolutely need, wouldn't it be better to do a budget amendment than robbing Peter to pay Paul?
Well, will you not follow the emails chain from Willie, and George had asked about this a while back, and Willie had investigated it for him because George had discovered what had happened after the fact.
I only included you and the judge on that email chain. I didn't include the other commissioners.
Okay.
But I would just think that would probably be a good way to fix that.
No, what you're saying does make sense, but what we normally do in these cases is take the money that's there and use it. Then if we get down the year and there's something breaks or changes, we have to transfer money, then we will do that, take care of it. Otherwise, it's,
So you're basically just using your contingency.
using the capabilities within the current budget lines. We're not going to the contingency other than what he had in his contingency fund. So, but he will come back to the court if there's something else comes up that he had that, because what George has to do and other departments, you have to put in some things. You don't know whether they're going to need to be done this year or next year. And depending on the life of the equipment or the software. So there is built-in contingencies to that, but we go ahead and fund those. So this is what he has looked at and rearranged, and his suggestion that we do, and I think we need to move that way.
Understand that.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions, anyone in the audience?
No, I'll move to accept, Judge.
Thanks, sir.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Watts, second by Commissioner Beecham. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item number 6, discuss, consider, and take action to award AAA Guardian Foundation and repair for the foundation repair, the foundation stabilization project for the Juvenile Justice Center as recommended by Harper Perkins Architects in the amount of $25,000 to be paid from the 2016 limited tax note. And I want to make a slight change to this, for funds available in the juvenile accounts. And the reason I say that, that building, we have students in there, we get some reimbursement money, and for those students being in there, that goes into a separate fund right now. And just wanted to look at whether it might be better to pay that out of there instead of taking the limited tax note down for this. So I'd like for if you make a motion on this, that we allow that in there, and as look at and talk to Kirk. I didn't get a chance to talk to him over the weekend on this. But there is some money there that I think we ought to consider in this. Mr. Perkins? You have anything to comment on that?
I think you all have everything. As you know, there's been some issues over at the, specifically I call it the east side, down there on this downtown orientation of it's pure east or not, but it is the east side, where the foundation has settled and has created some cracking on masonry inside the cells on that east, pretty much the east 100 feet or so. We consulted 2 different structural engineers. We've had some survey work done. We've done testing of the sewer lines to see if there's any leaks. We've tested water lines to see if there are any leaks. We potholed along the foundation to see if there's any free water. And when we finally analyzed all that, I felt like the best thing to do was to go ahead and seek a bid, actual bid from the companies that are interested. We invited the 2 that were interested. There's others that can do the work, but they did not choose to submit. But AAA and Advocate were the 2 that had submitted, and AAA was the lower of the bids, and we felt like that would be the best bet for the county to proceed. The idea is that this is a 2-part process. One is we need to stabilize that area and give it a little bit of time before we go in and patch all those cracks, and we're going to replace one door, that one going out into the exercise shed. So this is phase 1 of a 2-phase project.
And hopefully prevent further damage.
Hopefully prevent further damage, that's exactly right.
I'd make a motion to approve, Judge.
Any comment from the audience?
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Or anyone else?
Just help me understand how this qualifies to be paid for from the limited tax note.
That wouldn't be his question.
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, okay. Because that limited tax note covered buildings within the counties, so it's a pretty broad statement when we wrote that. So we still have money out of communications, but it did have those categories in there.
Building maintenance throughout the county.
But that's why, but I really want to look at, before we keep using that, I want to check that one out before we send it from there.
Any other questions for me?
I don't have anything.
Anyone in the audience, any questions or comments? Thanks, sir.
You're up again.
We have a motion then to approve the item as stated with the amendment on the end of it, our fund available.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, motion by Commissioner Muller, second by Commissioner Beecham to approve the item as stated and amended. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 7, discuss, consider, take action, enter into pricing negotiations with DNS Engineering for the Law Enforcement Center project for a recommendation of Harper Perkins. Mr. Perkins?
As you all know, one of the issues we get into when we start a construction project is independent testing by a third party. And we had solicited interest qualifications. Because it is a professional service, we can't bid it. So we have to request qualifications, which we did of 5 different companies, but only 2 wound up submitting. We had others out of the Metroplex that we dealt with before, and we sent them invitations, and we thought we'd get somebody, but we only got the 2, Braun Intertech and DNS, which we recommended to be used as a point of negotiation, not this, which means that if we can't negotiate a satisfactory pricing from that company, then we would suggest we move to the second one, which is the one we have. We have worked with both companies, Gary Wichita Farms, and we feel like that because of longevity and personnel and the specific requirements of this project, that DNS really offers the better of the service and the people that are going to be involved, without getting too much into the weeds, but that's, you know, after going through everything, I've worked with both companies, we believe that's going to be the best for the county and for the LEC.
So how's the payment structure? Do you pay them or do we pay?
You pay them.
Are they within our original budget?
Yeah, we have testing budgeted, I think, $500,000, but I sure would think it would not be that much.
So you feel like we can come underneath that with this company?
Yes. We have, since we've worked with both companies, we have taken the invoices that we've gotten from each company and compared them, and they're very comparable. You say, well, how can it be comparable if one station was Star Falls and one station in Ardmore and Benton? Well, they give you a lump sum price for the trips, whereas other companies start billing you on an hourly rate from the day they get the pickup, and the hour they get the pickup till they get to the job and get back. So it worked out just pretty much even, but that gets to be proven out by the negotiation process.
I've read both proposals and both look very qualified. And I think the firm that you've brought to us seems to be more of a mom and pop oriented kind of shop and has a little more expertise in what we're looking for in this area. So
They have, well, actually, they've got several different locations. One of the things that wasn't in the RFQ, if you did not get a copy of the cover letter, and I called the president of the company this morning to verify that they do have the expertise in the sandwich tip wall panel, which I think is very important.
they did address that.
They did it as that, and cover letter that they would.
I misunderstood what you said.
Well, we said that they have a specific group of technicians that have dealt with the tilt wall panels that are composed of two concrete slabs with the insulation in between. So it's a kind of it's a specialized thing for our part of the world, but there's a lot of people use it. But we were looking for someone who had that expertise as they were watching that.
He used the term sandwich slab, so.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
No,
They're more like wafers, but.
It's an Oreo cookie.
Yeah, you can't feel the part and look out the phone. You know? Okay. All right. Any questions for Mr. Perkins? Thank you, sir.
Judge, I would make the motion to proceed as stated.
Okay. Thank you. Second to that?
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Watts to accept the item as stated. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Item 8, discuss, consider, take action to accept the Cummings Allison Corporation quote in the amount of $4,940 plus shipping for 2 Cummings models, I-131 JetScan IFX currency scanner at $3,370 per unit, less $675 discount and $600 per unit for trade-in. Unit for the net unit cost of $2,095 and $379 for dot matrix imprint printer kit for each scanner for a grand total of $4,940 plus shipping for 2 scanners and printers for a tax assessor collector's office to be paid from $104.99.3153 office equipment. Mr. Smythe.
Good morning, good county government.
Yes, sir.
This came about last week, Judge, in our budget workshop with Commissioner Harvey. We bought these machines 11 part of 13, early 14, and it's safe to say anything that's high speed and automated, it wears itself out. We opted, in kind of buying a new car pickup, we opted 4 years ago not to buy the maintenance agreement, kind of eye-opening deal me and Lee talked about last week. The maintenance agreement on these machines were $700 a piece. So we rolled the dice like buying a new pickup and didn't buy it, and we saved $5,600 in the last 4 years because we really hadn't had any trouble out of them, but we're starting to kind of get a little bit of a deal where you kind of got to hold your mouth right to make them work. I gave y'all's budget workshop paperwork, Jeff and everybody, I gave y'all some ideas on the amount of money that's being counted over there daily. They're starting to to have some personality issues, and it's kind of like I've heard y'all before, on a piece of equipment, a road grader. It's a good time for us to maybe draw up a set of divorce papers on these machines and start out fresh with some equipment, and we can buy them worth the money, and we're never going to be given any more for what we've got right now. So it's a very good opportunity, Jeff, to do this, but it's very helpful. These new machines have more counterfeit. Your technology just keeps leapfrogging forward. They certainly help our staff get out there every day. As y'all know, we turn in our year-end stats. We do not have any comp time whatsoever for our line staff deputies. We're able to get out of that building in a very timely fashion every afternoon. Big help on that. And certainly goes without saying, we certainly have a significant amount of public, to some degree, you wouldn't think this, that will walk into our lobby with a significant amount of cash. We had a lady walk in last year, I think somewhere in the ballpark of $22,000 in a paper bag.
Was it more than?
About $22,000 or so. But the thing is that if you don't have this type of equipment there during peak tax season, it ends up being an operational issue because you have lines that are congested. So I mean, there's a front end on this and a back end as far as how we reconcile every day. I would certainly hope that the court would move forward with this. We made a good judgment call, and to even have this company come up here, we laughed about it. It's really not anything to laugh about, but the maintenance agreement on this kind of stuff is that I think it's around $365 or $385 for them to stick the key in the ignition in the car before they have to drive up here from Dallas. And once they get here, it's $50 an hour. So it's just phenomenal with the maintenance agreements. I think probably if we'll try to get lucky twice. I'm not in favor at this point in time to buy the maintenance agreement. This is a good piece of equipment. It's probably this piece of equipment right here sitting at every bank in Wichita Falls. We have two of these, and we have a coin counter. The coin counter judge, commissioners, has been a great machine. And the other ones have given us good service. We're just right out there at the edge of where we're at on operational life of them because they're used daily. But we certainly appreciate your appreciation. We do have the money in a line. The budget packet I submitted y'all last week, Nick, you done a great job on it. I appreciate your kind words this morning, Willie. We have the money in this year's budget in a line to cover this entire cost, so there's no lateral movement among lines. But we certainly appreciate any consideration of us moving forward. It's a big part of our daily operations. Like I say, it's a big part of us getting out here every day in a timely fashion.
Commissioners, any questions? How long is the warranty on the machine? Is it 1 year, 2 years?
I believe it's a 1 year, Judge.
That's probably the same.
That's just about, the average garden variety on that deal. But they're good machines, and the fact we've had them for 4 years and never had any hard mechanical issues with it kind of speaks for standing on the merits. But we're out there now, you kind of got to hold your mouth in a certain direction to get it to work. And like I said, there's no better time for somebody that's going to offer us what they're going to offer us now to walk away from these about $1,200, $1,300 savings right there to begin with off the top.
Did good on that.
Did good on that, and like I said, rolled the dice on the maintenance agreement, and there's $5,600 there that we've spent that we didn't end up spending, and we ended up having, there was 3 items I put in our budget packet for y'all last week, and this certainly helps with one of them. As far as us trying to keep pushing things into the future, we can take care of this. I think we're going to be able to make a silk purse out of Sal's ear on our credit card machines and get that fixed. And I want to visit some with Jeff. I had to be too, or what we can do on our website. We've got a website that looks like the 78 Impala, and it hadn't had the hood lifted on it in a long time, but we're going to try to maybe work through. I think TAC
That was 78 Impala.
I would not have a nice 78 Impala. But the thing is, it hadn't had the hood raised on it, Mark, in our website.
Tommy, should we tie that together with Colt's work that he's doing on ours?
I don't have any problem with that. It's like me and Lee and Nikki talked last week. There's some systemic problems with it, Jeff, that
Tell them about who manages our site. Tell them who manages the site.
Well, Spindle Media is our administrator in Dallas, so, if we want to try to put something on there, you got to pick up the phone and call them, and you're not really in control of your own product, Judge. I wish we had more localized control. And during certain times of year, you can go on there if you have it controlled. During the hotter and hell, you put a bicycle thing. There's a lot of things you can do to promote county government with people being on there every year. And it's looked the same way forever today. Some of my staff have been here over 22 or 23 years. They said, Tommy, it's basically the same website we had that long.
Well, are you thinking that if we did it in our own, or would you want it to be external like what it is today?
Jeff, I mean, the thing is, I believe you can link from the county to ours, but see, what we've got going on with ours is you've got that payment mechanism in there with Spindle Media and the tax software and certified payments. I mean, if it could be done, and there's not a lot of wrinkles in it, I don't have any problem with that. If there's somehow or another we could co-op.
Yeah, because I'm thinking you could manipulate it so much easier if Colt designed it for you with just the software links that you need.
We're kind of getting a feel from the agenda item, but just put that, let me ask you to look into that, but go back and look at our agreement with your outside tax collection firm, because I think they're paying for your Spindle Media costs, is that right? Okay, so that needs to be brought in, that, then come back to us with that, folks. Okay.
Well, I'll have to admit, when I saw this Cummins Allison, I was thinking 855.
Same thing.
Yeah. I'll make the motion, Judge, if we.
Hang on just a second.
All right, that's it, I'm making no more motions.
Any questions from anyone in the audience? Okay, one of the things, just so you're aware of it, I have worked out with the auditor of the JPs, and on the pickup, we've revised the courier pickup schedule for money to go along with your schedule in the tax offices. You had mentioned that you might have additional pickups during tax season. So aside from here, when you get a chance to think that, I will get with you, please.
Can I kind of dovetail off the back of that, Judge? Jeff, do you have any idea where we're at on the key?
Just approving them, Tom, is all we like. So they're telling me 3 to 4 day deal. So it's not going to take us long now. I'll give that to Nancy and let her see if Monday we can put that on. I intended to, and Nancy was going last Monday, and then I got sidetracked. So we have everything we need.
If there are no other questions from the audience, can I have a motion then to support this item?
Go ahead, Barry.
Not me, I'm not making the motion.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
You're getting awful tender in your old age.
Oh, about 2 minutes.
No, if you took last Saturday, you could take.
Not 2 minutes.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Watts, second by Commissioner Beecham to approve the item as stated. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0. Mr. Smythe, thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge. Could I just digress here for 1 second on a positive note? This is something we're extremely proud of, and it has nothing to do with me being the president of my own fan club. We're drinking too much of my own Kool-Aid. But nevertheless, over the weekend, we received, and this is we got informal recognition of this the Monday before Easter. But it was awful nice to come to work this morning and have this letter from the Executive Director of the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles, Ms. Whitney Brewster. It says, Dear Mr. Smythe, congratulations. The Texas Department of Motor Vehicles is pleased to award you the silver level recognition for your participation in the Performance Quality Recognition Program. Your office is an elite group among your peers as only one of 3 officers to achieve silver level recognition. Your achievements provide quality registration, titling services to the motoring public has a positive impact on your county. It's clear in reviewing your office's application that you have a culture of continuous improvement and embrace positive changes. Your Texas DMV Regional Service Center Manager will contact you to make the arrangement for presenting you with a silver level recognition certificate. Congratulations on being in the inaugural recognized tax assessor collectors of Texas, and thank you for being driven to serve. So,
Good job.
We've got silver, so when you put that on a calculator, it comes up about 1.18%. So you round it down. We're in 1% of the state. We would have applied for gold, but we just didn't quite have all our ducks lined up. We're working on gold now. We've had so many people promoted and get training and stuff. A big part of the gold is your education. And we're very proud of this. It's a great reflection on our office as a whole and on our staff. It's just a 6-month process. And I've been around this twice in my previous career. And anytime you go through an accreditation program, they like to raise the hood, and they keep looking, and they keep looking, and they keep looking. So it was 6 months of us being evaluated as far as our best business practices, and we're just elated about it. But it's a good reflection on our office as a whole, and about $27 million worth of motor vehicle revenue last year, and 116,000 renewals, about 36,000 pieces of title work. So we appreciate the support. I kept you guys plugged in on that. Of course, the court's been plugged in on this, but from a formal notification standpoint, I got this morning, and I want to share it with the court.
Excellent. Very good.
Thank you. Item number 9 is discuss, consider, take action to approve the county treasurer's reports for February 2018 and authorize county judge and commissioners to sign the affidavit certifying compliance with section 114.026 of the local government code for February 2018. Mr. Hampton.
Well, before Commissioner Muller makes a motion to pass this, we all want to say that you're looking at.
Right, worry about that.
I know you guys missed me last week. I was at the Treasurers Conference in San Marcos, and believe it or not, the Secret Service did a presentation on counterfeit money. I didn't realize it at the time, but the Secret Service was organized right after the Civil War simply because of counterfeit money. And our northern cousins, not to get personal about this, flooded the South with fake money, and so that's how that worked. So anyway, the Secret Service then started protecting the president then at the beginning of the 20th century. So that was a new piece of history to me. And of course, when I was there, I did try to do a little missionary work there in the bar, and told everybody there that I knew Tommy Smythe, and I had several people say, "Oh yeah, he's a silver recipient." So anyway, his reputation is well renowned throughout the state. Interestingly enough, we're going to lose about a third of my colleagues through either retirement or they were defeated in the election. So
they fared better than county judges, though.
So some of those guys were great guys, or are great guys, and they've been very kind to me. You're looking at February. That's where we are, and March. The good news, on your big list, not my list. So, Lee, we're 4% of where we were the trailing 12 months. So that's the good news. And it's a little bit better than what we were last month, and that's simply because of Tommy knew who to put in place for the chief deputy over there. So anyway, she's brought us a lot of money, and we're really in good shape.
Now, Bob, this doesn't reflect the jail bond money?
No. It does, yes, it does.
The large sheet?
No, the large sheet's
Oh, you're talking about the jail bond, okay. No, it doesn't. Simply because that was my decision on that deal. That should be a separate entity altogether. That has nothing to do with budget. And so that is as Murphy said many times, that's a separate deal altogether, never to be commingled, and so I took that very personally. So, now stay with me now, Commissioner. I don't want you're already looking at my sheets.
Yeah.
Sheets.
I've already been over this.
You got any questions on this?
Yes,
No,
sir.
no, you good?
On the long sheets I do.
Yes, sir, good.
Okay, in the 2017 list of revenues, down the next to last item is Texas Limited Tax Note.
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to find that in the 2018 listing.
Yeah, it's right there on
The second page, Judge. Oh, I'm looking on you're wanting to know it on the 18?
On the 18.
It's on the second page, just about 6 up from the
Okay, I see it
bottom.
down there. I just didn't know why it was separated. But that fund's gone from 3.3 million to 1.9.
Yes.
And that's
And that's money that's spent.
right.
Okay, so, and I did bring you, so that you'd know, of that $7 7.5 million that we borrowed in 16, we've paid off about $1 million of that. So we still, you know, so we need to find that lady that brings the money in with the sack. Tommy didn't mention it, but her name certainly wasn't Hampton. So, you can buy a train load of Hamptons for $22,000. So was it 40 grand, did you say?
No, it wasn't 40.
Wait a minute, you're already regressing here. Any other questions? No, everything else is on this sheet. We accept that jail bond.
All right.
Okay.
I just didn't understand why it switched from one to the other, but it still gives us the
So-
information.
Bob, on this big sheet, like on the 2018, when I see the Pilgrim Bank Finance, does that mean we've set aside this amount of money towards the payment of that note? See where it's reflecting its balance there, or total,
On Pilgrim?
on Pilgrim, what does that show?
It shows you your balance so far
The balance of the note?
of the note, yes, sir. No, not the balance of the note, the balance of the monies we have left.
Of that money,
Yeah.
okay.
That's the reason I wanted to let you know.
Okay, so that, we're setting on that much to be spent on a particular Odyssey.
Exactly, that's the money we have left.
Oh, gotcha. I was thinking it was already had been displaced by software, but I follow you now.
Now, about August, the floodgate will open when they go live. We'll do
Pay a bunch more out.
lunch, yes, sir. Or in September, after they do it.
Okay, now then, the other, now then, my three sheets is March. This is your current situation financially, money on hand, except for that money that Devon's misplaced out in the offshore account. But hopefully this is not being recorded.
Just televised to the recording.
We're going to have another set of rules here. Okay, good. Anyway, that's where we are, and we've got, flipping over to sheet 5, if you don't have any questions on the investments of your particular precinct, on sheet 5 is our jail bond proceeds. If you notice, the Treasury bill came due on April 5, that's been replaced by 2 treasuries that go out 3 and 6 months respectively from that. And then this week, the other treasury will mature, and I'll send it out even further.
Did the guy from Yates, did they get you that schedule?
Never heard a lick. And so that's the reason I was hoping Ralph would be here. Anyway, you see what we spent already on that.
Okay.
Or Yates.
Yes, sir. So I want to keep you guys up to date, informed financially. And like I've said, if something doesn't really ring clear to you, just holler at me. I'm easy to get a hold of. And I'll come up to your office and...
Of these different categories that are here,
Yes, sir.
when we speak of reserves, where is that? What does that indicate here?
Where is, I'm sorry?
Where are our reserves indicated on this page?
Well, of course, we have obligations that we, down the road.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
Those are the monies, a lot of that would be considered reserves. simply because
It's not reserved.
we got more money than we have obligated.
It's not reserved if we're not, the money is not obligated. If it's not obligated, it would be reserved.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And
Where's that?
that's simply a,
Chris,
Well, Bob, what's the comment on the last page? Right above the long-term investment assets? Do you see that note there?
Ready asset balance?
What is that telling me?
the ready asset balances, that's money on hand. In other words,
Unencumbered
that's
money
well,
that's not allocated a
That's-
different particular direction?
that's money we can spend if we need to in a hurry.
Well, it's encumbered by the
Ready
budget.
assets.
It's encumbered by the budget.
Oh, yeah.
Correct,
Yeah,
but
right.
it's not allocated towards a specific,
Yeah, all this money is encumbered.
like this Pilgrim's Bank, that money is actually encumbered. You know, at 1.9.
Right.
The Pilgrim Bank, if you noticed, you know, that money is, you see what we borrowed on September the 29th of 2016, $3.5 million. Okay, we got 1.9 left. And we've encumbered it somewhere or another.
Well, it's in the contract on the software, the payment schedule will eventually, once that will accelerate when they go live.
Yeah, we wouldn't borrow it if we didn't
Right.
plan on spending it.
It was based on what the estimated cost was. Hopefully they were high on there, but
But getting back to your question, Lee, that's really a good question. I just don't have that specifically delineated as far as financial reserves, but
I'd be curious to know
Yeah.
how secure we are in the case of a natural disaster, like April 10, 1979.
Yeah.
Do we have
Well,
our savings account?
the math should be that you're 4 months into a allocated budget year of $50 or $60 million, okay? So let's just call it half of that year. You need 30 more million to fund your budget if it was through the 6 month. So, and if it was true 60, the difference would be subtract your notes.
And then that should be the number.
Difference would be your,
Well, I understand that,
so
but I want to know what that number is.
it's close to 40. Well, you've got 76, he just showed you 72.
That's obligated money.
I'll sure try to
Not
get that
72
to
is
you next
mine.
time, though. I will.
Some of this 72, Lee, this right here, this is the amount of money you have right here. Then pull out your obligations.
You got to back them out. And I think Judge, it seems like we've had this discussion before that we try to be, somewhere close to an annual operating budget.
well, no, what we want in reserves by Gadsby rules is a minimum of 3 months, preferably 4.
But we do
Yeah,
better
but
than
we
that.
want to do better than that.
Well, and that's why we had the particular bond ratings, we have an excellent
Yeah,
reserve ratio.
yeah.
But
I mean, 4 is probably great if you don't have exactly what you brought out. When you get into one of those scenarios where you've got something above and beyond expectations, that's when we need to have a little.
Well, that's what you have, because you're going to hope for the federal disaster to come in, and then you're going to be at 80-20, 20% your money, 80% federal.
We just got to have a front end.
But they keep raising that bar on the amount of money per individual. I'm thinking it used to be in the $200 range, and now you're at the $800 per individual to start hitting the minimum.
Well, you walk a very fine line too, because the discussion goes, you certainly want to be in a position where you draw the good interest rates and the good ratings, which is good business. And yet again, the taxpayers don't want you having excessive reserves, so there's a real fine balance between where you need to be. I feel pretty comfortable with the numbers that we are. But it is interesting to watch it as it evolves, and that's really a good indicator of where you are and how things are going. So, I mean, interesting number to kind of watch the chart on.
Talking to my colleagues down there, though,
Yeah,
been very interesting. I think we're doing extremely well.
good. Well, we hear the same thing when we meet with some of our fellow commissioners around the state. There's some horror stories out there.
I don't think I finished that story either. That silent service, or the Secret Service guy said that he warned all of us that counterfeiting, especially across Texas, has really elevated to an all-time high. And he said that, just like Tommy said, these new machines, that's a champion deal, bringing in large sums of money and tying up, because they're in a hurry, people are waiting, you're under a lot of pressure.
A good way to slip something through.
Oh, it's all very, very calculating, and it just bamboozles me that somebody that talented want to waste it. And
What a
doing
tremendous,
harm rather than just doing the
what a
right.
tremendous way to undermine your entire society, though, and slip a tremendous.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
counterfeit fund. I mean, that could be devastating. You lose confidence in the whole system real
Well,
quickly.
they're working hard at it, but these new counterfeiters they're bleaching that money out and changing fives into hundreds, and it's amazing. Any other questions?
No, very good. Thank you, sir. Any comments, questions from the audience? Can I have a motion into it?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Watts, to accept the item as stated. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, we're down to public comments. Anyone in the audience?
Just want to remind everybody, Judge, that there's at least two Mavericks in here. The rest are elected officials as well. The Texas Alliance feed is tomorrow. That goes on the place at 7:30. I think it's our biggest feed, about 1,200 pounds of ribs. We'll make sure that you guys show up. Most of the time, your guys are always in attendance, but that's tomorrow. Impact.
We're, part of us, I don't, Jeff's gonna be here, but
We'll be traveling.
Son's gonna be at the West Texas Conference in Frisco. So I'd already sent my notice to him, I wouldn't be there. But,
Good thing. Like to see you there if you make it.
thank you. Yes, sir. Anyone else? Okay. Commissioner Beecham?
Yeah, a couple things going on this weekend. First, if y'all remember Lucas Brownfield that came and presented his Eagle Scout project, do some work out at the county cemetery. That'll be taking place this Saturday. It was originally scheduled for this previous Saturday, but due to the rains, they rescheduled it, so that will be taking place. Also, Saturday morning at 9 a.m. at Psych Center, the Cruising Kent Car Show to benefit the Museum of North Texas History will be taking place. Should be a good event, very informative. You might be interested in. So, lots of good cars and going to help out on the museum. So.
What time is the scouts gonna be at the cemetery, do you know?
9 o'clock. Be working all day until they finish.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Harvey?
I'm gonna let Commissioner Mahler brag on our weekend since it was in his little town.
Okay. Going once, going twice. Okay. Commissioner Mahler?
Judge, as you know, great event Saturday night. We did the Redneck Culinary Academy cook for a fundraiser for a memorial scholarship fund for the late Heath Hodges. Extremely well attended and just very well done, and everybody just raved on the food. We've had a lot of good, but the good news is preliminary results are, I think we raised about $32,000 Saturday night. That was a tremendous effort that will help kick that scholarship off and get it off to a good start. So very proud to be a part of that. Everybody here was there. Everybody was busy. It was an all hands on deck kind of a deal. A lot of community involvement. Just makes you proud of the part of the country we live in when people come together and do things like that. Very, very, very good. A lot of work going on out in the precincts right now. We're involved in several drainage projects that we've been needing to work on for a while, and finally got things all together to do it, which I think is going to help us in the months to come. We do have some drainage issues in this county, and we're trying to address them where we can, especially where they affect our right-of-ways. So working on that and getting ready for a busy road season. And so if you see our guys out, be careful. There's just a lot of work going on in Wichita County trying to make things better.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Watts.
The same here. We've got a lot of pre-work going and effort to put down some oil here pretty quick on our chip seal projects. And Nancy, that reminds me to make sure, not only in conjunction with the locks, but TxDOT, there's a couple of letters pending to TxDOT. One was for the allocation on our, was thinking about Barry's Iowa Park Road project, but what's the
Rider
program, thank you, Judge, is the reallocation that could happen in the event that people don't take their allocations. We can ask for and probably receive another allocation, and I would like to get some additional reject with some of that money, if at all possible, that's occurring regularly with them.
Is that millions?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a ways to go with them right now.
So they had asked me to go ahead and submit that and let them look at that allocation, because he said a lot of counties won't take, they're given the allocation, but then they don't accept the allocation.
We've got the trucks to haul it now.
Mm-hmm. We've got, like Precinct 3, a lot of drainage projects going and trying to get maneuvered before we dodge some of these spring rains, hopefully. And so we just had a busy season starting so far.
You're going to give her the amount of millings you're going to request or anything like that?
Well, I think I'll look at that letter, Judge, and
Okay,
see.
yeah.
He told me what to write to
Okay.
ask them to reconsider the allocation or what might be available.
That's good. Okay. All right. Anything else, sir?
No, I think that's it.
We can get Barnett.
All right. Party's going to be traveling this week to the West Texas County Judges Commissioners Conference in Frisco, and Nancy wanted to know if we're going to plan on a meeting on. I'll be back. I'm leaving there Thursday right after the installation luncheon, and coming back here. The rest of y'all doing the same.
Are we coming back Thursday?
I am.
Yeah.
This thing, Friday.
I think we'll be.
Okay, so we'll have a meeting on Friday at least to go over the bills and have the opening for any staff discussions and to do that with that. If you've ever worried about your animals, whether or not the First Christian Church that I attend, we're going to have the blessing of the animals Saturday the 28th. There's a big sign out in the front yard on Taft, and you can come to that and bring your animals. And animal means any animals. I said that could include snakes, turtles, whatever.
Do they do kids?
Yeah.
No, I mean children.
You didn't mean goats.
I might want to swing my kids back.
If you got a leash and a collar on it, we'll do it. Okay. That's all I have. We're going to recess, come back at 1:30 for a discussion on the new health insurance program with Ramisha Brandon, employee benefits consultant with Texas Association of Counties. May have some general discussion on some of the budget guidance information we want to be sure we're giving in our meetings with them. And then we have on here that we're going to come back at 4 o'clock for payroll. But given the commissioners, I've got to be in a meeting and gone from here tomorrow. But we will recess the afternoon meeting to reconvene at 9 o'clock on 9, right? No.
I said 11.
11 o'clock.
Tomorrow.
That's right, 11 o'clock tomorrow for payroll. So y'all don't leave without doing
Y'all are
that.
leaving from here, right, tomorrow?
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
Jeff's not going.
No, I gotta go to the doctor's.
we gotta go and get back, there's lots of work going on. I tell you, we're busy.
All right, it's 11:16 and we are recessed to reconvene at 1:30.